So I decided to talk to you for a sec before I continue on with my gown and let you know that I sewed a muslin. Fit really well, but I decided to change up the instructions. Well, not instructions, but the order of sewing just a little, because the pattern asks for you to sew the bodice pieces together first and then sew that to the skirt. The problem with that is that you've got the front piece that extends down, which means that you have to try to make sure this corner here is clear, and it's a little awkward. So when I did my muslin, I decided there's no reason for me to not sew this panel to this skirt panel and then sew it all together. Then you don't have to worry about, get close up. You don't have to worry about right there. Yeah, that can be really tricky when you're trying to manipulate a whole bunch of fabric through a really pretty small opening. So I recommend doing that. This pattern, gotta be honest, I've not been too impressed with it. There's a cutting error. Every single cutting layout is wrong. They completely missed a whole panel, a whole pattern piece. The back, center back, you have to cut two. It's not cut on the fold. And they only allowed for one. And so I would have been short had I ordered exactly how much they asked. But luckily I ordered just a quarter of an inch, or a quarter of a foot, quarter of a yard more than what was required. And I typically order a little extra, but I always have extra left over. So it's a perfect example of why you should order a little extra. Yeah, other than that, I just feel like this pattern wasn't really well tested or edited, but the drafting's good. It's just the instructions are, which I'm very shocked by because typically Vogue is very good, but maybe it's because it's a designer pattern. I don't really know. Anyway, all right. I fast forwarded a little bit. The dress is assembled. Boning channels in. I pinned the contrast strip to the top just to kind of get an idea of what it was going to look like. But now I need to apply the seam binding to the center of the seam allowance. So I'm just going to take the contrast stuff off for now, and I'll pin it back on later. Well, bad news. This is why you should always review your pattern before you start sewing. I just sewed all of that on the outside. Should be on the inside. So pardon me while I seam rip. Okay, update. So I just sewed the seam binding. I actually used hem tape. I hope that's not going to be a problem. They didn't say specifically which kind of seam binding to get. So guess I'll find out. So that's sewn on now. Next step is to install the zipper. Woohoo! Invisible zipper time. So I always press the zipper, but not completely flat. You still want the teeth to be at a 45-degree angle. So then I hand basted it and started using the invisible zipper foot. All right, here we go. A little bit off. This is a side zipper, so it's gonna be kind of under my arm area, and I'm not really that worried about it, honestly. Everything else looks really good. There's no warping. It zips really, really cleanly. I don't just struggle with it at all. So this happened, I think, because my basting stitches just got a little bit loose. This just needs to be pressed. And then after you have installed both sides of the invisible zipper, you can use a regular zipper foot to finish sewing the very bottom of it. And now for the fun part. The applique. So basically what I did was I took some scissors and cut around each motif. I started out with some large sections and then individually cut, the little leaves and the flowers and smaller chunks, varying size of chunks of appliqué. Sorry for using the word chunks. But I just hand sewed after I was happy with the placement of everything. I kind of just pinned and then stitched it in place with my hands. And it was a little tedious, but I don't mind that kind of thing. So here you can see the process of cutting it. And I made sure to leave just a tiny bit around each sequined motif so that I had some kind of mesh to work with, stitching it on the dress. But see, here you can see I kind of just laid it out, and it's kind of cool because it sort of stuck to the dress without me having to pin every single piece. So it was just kind of, using my artistic eye and making sure that everything looked balanced. And I really wanted this kind of cascading effect from the bodice down the skirt. And it's kind of hard to know when to stop this sort of thing. But I think, being a graphic designer, I have sort of an advantage because at some point I know I just need to stop. And I think usually I make the right decision. But that's the sort of thing you'll just get better at with time and practice. So as you can see, I'm just kind of, like I said, playing with placement, and there's really no science to it. It's just all I feel, really. And I'd kind of trim pieces if they seem too big. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will let you watch the rest of this in peace. Okay, and then the last main part of this was the shoulder strap. So you basically sew a tube, and I decided, since I've had issues with shoulder straps stretching out in the past, that I would insert some elastic inside of it. All right, you ready to see the final result? enjoyed watching my process of making this goddess gown, I'm calling it, because it is so extra. If you enjoyed it, then please let me know, and please let me know if you'd like to see more fancy dresses like this. I had so much fun making it, and I'd like to say thank you to Minerva for providing this sequin fabric in exchange for a blog post, and I will link that down below in the description. And if you want to, you can join my Facebook sewing group, Vintage Sewing with Liz, and my Instagram is @LizVonPhyllis, and please let me know if you liked it. And until next time, bye! Are you recording? Yes.